Wayne Root, the former Libertarian vice presidential nominee, currently the chairman of the Libertarian National Congressional Committee, author of The Conscience of a Libertarian, Employing the Citizen Revolution with God, Guns, Gold, and Tax Cuts. Website rootforamerica.com is back with us. Wayne, welcome back to the program.
Hey, Tom. Great to be on. Thank you.
Thank you. You wrote an op-ed called The Obama Plan, Insanity for Karl Marx. And I'd like to just go through it point by point with you, if I may.
You got it.
Okay. You say, first, we have the housing crisis. Obama's solution to the problem that millions can't afford to live in their homes is to pay their mortgages because banks were, or they can't pay their mortgages because banks were pushed by government to use the criteria of affirmative action to award mortgages. These are your words. I'm just assuming for a moment, Wayne, that you actually believe this lie. Can you please name one bank, just one, because you and I both know that if there was one bank anywhere in the United States that this had actually happened to, it would have been splashed all over Fox News. It would have been on Drudge for months. Please name one bank that was forced to give one mortgage. Let me just finish the sentence. Name one bank that was forced to give one mortgage to one person. One example.
Tom, you're living in a dream world here. Listen. Government
just one example.
Government is the person that's at fault for all of this.
Just one example.
Terrible, but they just went along with what government was doing, which was guaranteeing loans, guaranteeing Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and asking banks if they wanted to stay in business and do their mergers and do their business as usual, they would have to go along with the government's rules called the Community Reinvestment Act to give to up their standards of giving loans to minorities and poor people.
Wayne, have you ever read the Community Reinvestment Act? I would bet, I don't want to get into betting money, but I'll bet you haven't read the Community Reinvestment Act. I have, or at least a good chunk of it. And what that law said was that redlining is no longer legal. That law outlined the power of a bank, and banks were using this extensively to say, you may not get a loan here because of your zip code. What it said was if somebody in an area that the bank has traditionally said we don't lend in that area, if that individual qualifies according to the standards of accepted banking practices, and that's the phrase you'll find right there in the law, then you cannot deny them a mortgage based on their zip code.
Tom,
that has nothing to do with forcing a mortgage.
Original intent in the 1970s. It was supercharged under Bill Clinton and beyond by Barack Obama and Acorn.
It was not. It was not. You're throwing out words, Wayne. Give me one example. One example of one bank that was forced to give one mortgage, and I will believe you.
Tom, you
can't find one example
because of subprime mortgages. What are you talking about?
You can't find one example.
What happened.
You can't find, if Citibank had been forced to give a mortgage to some guy named Joe Blow living in Oakland, California, and that mortgage went bad, you don't think that would be, Sean Hannity would be waving the page, here's the guy that Citibank was forced to give that mortgage. No,
hey,
sorry, there aren't any.
Let's get off the topic of whether a person was forced
let's move to the next one then. You say the rule of law. Let's go to your second one then. You say the rule of law doesn't matter. Contracts no longer matter. The ability to pay your bills no longer matters. Yes, I agree with you. That was the policy of the Bush administration. Ignore all those things and give the banks $800 billion.
Well, we're on the same
let's
side
lock
on
up
that
the
one.
bushes.
I agree with the Occupy Wall Street protesters on one specific thing, and that is I'm for capitalism. I don't have any problem with banks or bank presidents making money. I have no problem with stockholders making money. That's called capitalism. I do have a problem with bailouts. They should be allowed to fail. When they fail, you got to teach them a lesson, and you can't take the
Then you have an argument with George W. Bush.
And give it to the banksters.
Wayne?
That is wrong, and it's against the Constitution.
Wayne, you have an argument with George W. Bush, not with Barack Obama. Yeah, I think we agree on this.
Obama. He didn't participate in the bailout.
No, the bailout was passed during the Bush administration. It was administered during the Bush administration.
As well under Obama. And you know what another word
Obama has not passed
any
any more money to the banks.
What about GE? Is GE as bad as the banks?
Obama did not pass any more money to the banks.
What's that?
Obama has not passed any more money to the banks. GE is not a bank. It is a corporation, and they did get a lot of money during the last years of the Bush administration. You're right. Bernie Sanders audited. Okay, we'll all agree that was a terrible thing. Okay, you go on and you say Obama's voter, although you're blaming this on Obama, you say Obama's voters obviously believe money grows on trees. They also believe the way to solve the debt crisis is by printing more fake money. And I would say, yes, that's what Bush did for 2.5 years, with two wars and a huge tax cut, none of which were paid for. What Obama did that has caused the debt to suddenly get much larger is he said, that Iraq war and that Afghanistan war that Bush said were going to cost us $2 billion and would pay for themselves with the oil we got from them, and so he never bothered to put them on the budget. Those didn't show up in the budget in the last 5 years of the Bush administration that we were fighting those wars. Obama said, I'm going to take that Defense Department money and actually put it in the budget. And all of a sudden, you're seeing an extra $200, $300, $400, $500. Actually, you're seeing probably close to $1 trillion in defense spending. Defense spending has doubled since 9/11.
Hey,
100% increase.
Agree?
Now it's on the budget.
Tom,
how can you blame Obama for simply pointing out what Bush did?
Tom, obviously you must think you're sitting with a Republican. You're sitting with a libertarian who is not here to only criticize Obama, who's here to tell you every president.
Your article does not mention George Bush anywhere, and every sentence starts out with Obama.
Presidents in American history.
And in fact, it's titled "The Obama Plan: Insanity or Karl Marx." And I'm saying, no, this is George Bush's policy. Obama's trying to fix this.
If you don't like Bush, then you can't like Obama. If liberals who say Bush spent too much and had too many wars could possibly say Obama's doing better, you're all high on the very thing you like, marijuana.
I think by the end of this year, we will be out of Iraq and we will be out of Afghanistan.
More spending, more debt. Same policies, except supercharged.
No, they're not the same policies. They're very much not the same policies. And for example, what Obama did in the Middle East is Wayne, you got to let me finish a sentence once in a while. What Obama did is he went over to the Middle East and he said, tear down these dictators. And what Bush did is he went into the Middle East and he started dropping bombs.
And they're both bad policies because neither one is working. I hate to tell you. Bush was a failure. I'm not for the war.
You didn't notice what happened in Egypt
or Tunisia? Get out of Afghanistan, but get out of Libya and get out of the new nation in Africa we're going into, too. Get out of all of them. We have nothing to do with them. I'm with you. On the other hand, the Arab Spring, Tom, if you and your liberal friends think that's working out well, disaster for America, disaster for Israel, it's going to lead to war around the world.
We shall see. We shall see. Okay, you say that a successful business owner has to pay his or her mortgage and property taxes in full, and now you're asking them to also pay for millions of others to live in their homes for free, subsidized by the taxpayer. A, I don't recall Obama ever saying that. I wish he had. And B, I think we need to be clawing back this money from the banksters who stole it.
But here's my point, Tom. The money has to come from somewhere. I think sometimes money grows on trees. You can't forgive student loans, and you can't ask banks to keep people in homes that can't pay for them, because in the end, the money's going to have to be paid for out of the taxes of Americans.
Well, this is your point about the student loans. You go after Obama for taking the student loans out of the hands of private banks that were skimming 10, 20, in some cases as much as 40% profit off the top, and putting it into a government agency that operates on a 3% overhead. Why? That makes no sense to me. Why would you criticize Obama for that?
I'm not for government ever taking over anything because they fail at everything they do. And second of all,
that works just fine.
What I'm complaining about here is that government, Obama's new proposal, is to tell everyone who has a student loan at the end of 20 years, you don't owe it anymore. Okay. Whatever's left is gone.
So are you suggesting, Wayne, that we should open all our jails?
What's that?
Are you suggesting we should simply open all our jails and let everybody out because government doesn't work?
Well, government runs jails pretty inefficiently, too. As a matter of fact, I'm on your side on a point. We should talk about medical marijuana, legalizing marijuana. Why are hundreds of thousands of people in jail for minor drug offenses?
Are you suggesting that we should end all our fire departments, that we should just tell all our firefighters to go home? Sorry, government doesn't work?
Stop their $100,000 pensions, yes.
Okay, yeah, screw the firefighters. Okay.
I don't have a $100,000 pension.
That's going to work really well.
Are you screwing me?
Yeah, I think that we should all have pensions. Okay, Root for America is the website. Wayne Root is the candidate, or was the candidate, Libertarian vice presidential nominee. Thanks, Wayne.
Thanks, Tom.